few seem to understand it. It's really very simple. Bitcoin standard. It's like underhanding the underhanded. The advantage over the arch lords, the last laugh, because that is what is standard. Grand plan and also the greatest work, returning of us, valuing all of our time for the value we make it worth. Down are the days of us opening paper purses, handed away, hodling tight, counting the days to hyper-Bitcoinization world. It's time for bankers to move over, cause they no longer rule over us. They no longer owning us. They've no longer got us groveling for all their golden dust. Owe us nothing neither though. Bitcoin standard told you guys. The rules are set in dates and now they're ours. Ancient establishment fading away, taking the place. Round of applause, my club is here to tip your fucking boat. So best to be grabbing the oars. Number going up, fuck the moon, we're here to be roaming the stars. Bitcoin standard, yo, it's the Bitcoin standard fee. It's the Bitcoin standard, it's how we plan it for you and me. It's the Bitcoin standard, yo, it's the Bitcoin standard fee. It's the Bitcoin standard, it's how we plan it for the family. It's the Bitcoin standard, yo, it's the Bitcoin standard fee. It's the Bitcoin standard, it's how we plan it for you and me. It's the Bitcoin standard, yo. It's the Bitcoin standard fee. It's the Bitcoin standard, it's how we plan it for the family.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. I'm super glad you're here. And this is such a nice sound. I got yesterday a copyright strike because I used a sound that honestly I thought I can use. Like went to Canva, like, can I use that? And it was commercial use, and apparently I couldn't use it. So I was going out to the Bitcoin community and was like, hey, do you have a nice Bitcoin song? And this was Bitcoin Standard, or I think it was actually just Standard. It is called a song from Anik the First. It is an amazing song, and I'm so psyched up just by hearing that song. But yeah, let's dive into the live stream, man. It's really, really great to have you all here. Yes, this was the sound. This was just the sound that I played. Anik the First from a Standard. It is called. I also mentioned him right there. Hi, T. Jacobson. Thank you so much for joining. Really cool. Glad you're excited about the live stream. I always want to say podcast. Man, it's so unusual for me to do anything else outside of the podcast. So let's get into it. Today we have the block. Let's see, what block do we have right now? We have the block 918472. 3 minutes ago it was mined. It is October 10th. I'm currently speaking to you at a Bitcoin exchange rate of 117609, so 117,000 US dollars, almost $120,000. We are slowly reaching to, again, a new all-time high. But I guess we reached a new all-time high on Monday, and now we are falling since then. So I don't know if that's correct, if you're reaching the new all-time high. But the way more important message is that one Satoshi, one US dollar currently gets you 851 Satoshis. Like, you can still get almost 1,000 Satoshis for just $1 US. Like, it sounds crazy to me if you say it out loud. We have a lot of interesting things to talk about. We have a lot of interesting things to kind of get into today, and I'm super excited to be here with you all today. So first off, I wanted to start off today with a very bullish kind of take of one of my, I can say, like, almost like a friend of mine now, Lawrence Lepar. I celebrated his birthday to a certain extent. I was interviewing Lawrence Lepar, Larry, at BTC Prague on his birthday on the VIP stage on Bitcoin Prague. It was really cool. And I think a day later we went out for dinner. It was really cool hanging out with him in Prague. And I saw this video today of him, and I wanted to just play it to all of you guys because I think it's such an amazing video. It's like a bullish take on what's currently going on and all the things that we are talking. I think he really summarizes it amazing. And yeah, let's start in today's live stream with a very bullish take of Lawrence Lepar, aka Larry. Oh gosh. I'm spitting on my microphone. I'm super sorry for that.
All it takes is Powell is bluffing. He says we're going to get inflation back to 2%. He says we haven't lost control, even though he has. And the market believes him because the forward.
And this is the big thing. We have already seen it. We have seen it over the past hundred of thousands of years. Every single time you think you're in control of the monetary supply, you're not. You're only in control of the monetary supply if nobody's is in control of the monetary supply. This is the major learning that I had with my over 600 podcast episodes at this point, where you have to realize that if there is a human in the decision making of the monetary supply, you actually will get long term a bad outcome. There's no other way. At some point, even if you have a great guy on there that has only the best out of the best intentions for humanity, at some point, there will be a point where he's like, oh, there's a small problem coming our way. What are we going to do about that? And then he will be like, oh, I can just press this button. I can just print this money. And he will do that. Like 100%. There's no question about it. At some point, they will print money. And so I'm not concerned that Bitcoin isn't going up because I know they will print money. And even if Bitcoin has no adoption, like imagine we are staying just with the Bitcoiners that we are currently having. Even in that situation, we will grow in purchasing power and in overall price because the monetary supply will expand because the central bankers will find new reasons to print money. But yeah, let's listen into what Larry has to say.
Forward swaps are at 275 for 5-year inflation. It's bullshit, but people believe him. When things start to break, he will have to change his tune well before the inflation rate's 2%. And everyone's going to go, that's interesting. He really has lost control. He cannot get inflation down. All those guys who've been talking about inflation is inevitable, they are right. And then you're going to see just an enormous movement of capital from other things into our things. There's $450 trillion of fiat shit in the world. Cash, stocks, and bonds. All of Bitcoin.
I think it's even more. Let's quickly pull it up. I want to pull it up with you guys in real time here. So we are currently, oh gosh, banana experiment. What is that? Let's go in there. Jesse Myers. I think he has an amazing chart. If you go to Jesse Myers, and this is right now here the chart. I think I'll pull it up actually in every single live show right now. I'm just obsessed with it. There are $318 trillion. Then there is 100. I mistook it with real estate. So there's a lot of fiat BS out in the world, like bonds and money. And to a certain extent, this fiat, so we know now there's like 318 and 129, so like about the 450 trillions US dollars in fiat crap out there. But we have to also see real estate also has a lot of fiat crap in there, because imagine how many people would buy houses if the housing price would keep going down? If the housing price would keep going down, would people still keep buying homes just for the cash flow? Just for like having to upkeep everything, having to call a plumber, like having to fix things for the tenants that are there? No, only business people would do that. And then real estate would gradually go again towards being something for for business people, and not something that we have now for everyday people. Like people are just like buying homes for savings technologies, and this is really crazy for me to see this on such a big scale, having real estate being kind of fiat injected. And so when I said like it's more than what Larry actually said, I mean it. I don't think the 450 trillion of like fiat things that are 100% or like 95% fiat crap in there. I think equities also have some fiat in there, and then real estate has a huge amount of fiat in there. So it might be a little bit higher. Maybe it's like 500 trillion, maybe it's like 600 trillion, but it's a lot higher than that. And so when Larry says, hey, it's actually like 450 trillion, he probably would agree that it's like might be higher if you consider also the real estate part that is kind of just fiat. And this is kind of what he's saying. Then yeah, let's listen what Larry also has to say here.
Bitcoin, what does it take? 350 billion, 400 billion? So we're 450 trillion, 400 billion of Bitcoin. Let's call it 6 or 7 trillion of sound money. Bitcoin, gold stocks. Okay. 450 trill of unsound money, bonds, cash, and stocks. When a quorum of the people come to the conclusion that they can never stop printing and that it is inevitable that they will have to continue to print, they are going to say, please protect my assets in stuff that cannot be printed.
And this is such a great point. I'm stopping here because there is a great comparison. There's this comparison of the frog in the boiling hot water. And a lot of people think if you boil water slow enough, the frog will stay inside and you can just cook him and then eat him. That's actually not true. If the frog has a possibility to get out of that cooking water, he will actually jump out. So I actually researched that and I was like, oh yeah, the frog is in there and he will jump out at some point. And so when you have a frog in the boiling water, which is basically us, we are, if you don't have Bitcoin, you are the frog in boiling water. And even if you do have Bitcoin, you're kind of still in the boiling water to some extent because you notice the pain from your families being in there. So you see kind of like your friend frog, your mother frog, your I don't know if there's a word even, the mother frog, your kids frogs, your like whatever frog, your family frog basically, that they are still in there, and this can be a huge destruction for them. And so even though you are safe, you're outside, you're chilling, having those people still in there, it's a bad thing. And so what I always say to people, keep also your family close with the Bitcoin stuff, because them also getting them out is very important. And so my overall point with the frog analogy was that people will actually jump out. It's not that the people will be just stuck in there and like just getting boiled. At some point, they will jump out. That as the frog in the boiling water, if he can jump out, he will jump out. And so people that are on fiat standard, if they see the possibility of gold and Bitcoin, I personally recommend 100% Bitcoin, but like gold, as Larry said, is also sound money, will also probably benefit from that whole thing. If they see this opportunity, they will jump out and they will go to a hard money standard. I personally think, as we saw in the intro video, to a Bitcoin standard, like I'm not good in rapping. So this will be extremely great to see, and let's listen in what Larry has to say more.
All it takes, it doesn't take the whole 450 coming into Bitcoin or gold for us to go way up in price. Even if only 10% of it comes in, that's $45 trillion chasing 7. How much does the value of our stuff have to go up? It's true that in 1980, when gold was very hot and very, everyone thought inflation would go on forever, right at the peak of that market before Volcker tamed it. Okay, in 1980, gold represented 20% of all financial assets, at that time. I mean, gold and Bitcoin today represent less than 1% of all financial assets.
And this is actually my most bearish case. And so when you look at how this is distributed, and I want to share this again. When you look at this whole thing, how this is distributed, my most bearish case for Bitcoin. Oh, I have to also share it with you guys. My most bearish case for Bitcoin, like the most bearish I can get in a world where Bitcoin stays decentralized and secure, is that Bitcoin only gets 20% of that 1,000 trillion. So that Bitcoin would be now at 200 trillion US dollars. So that is roughly 100x from here, because we had like 2 point something trillion, I think 2.4 or something like that we are, or 2.3 maybe. So going towards a Bitcoin market cap of 200 trillion, we would have to 100x from here. This is my bearish case. I cannot overstate that. If everything goes wrong that I think will go wrong, in case Bitcoin is still decentralized and secure, as Jeff Booth always said, as long as Bitcoin stays decentralized and secure, this is my bearish case, that Bitcoin will only go to 20%. I can be way off, and it goes maybe probably even higher than that. But this is kind of my almost base case. So let's move on with Larry's video. You guys like the frog? What is this frog comparison? Frog for life. Maybe I go for a few questions, because there's already some comments in there. Permalife, did you bought the dip? That's what a Bitcoiner does, right? Yes and no. I'm already on 100% Bitcoin standard. I don't have fiat left. I literally don't have fiat left. So I know that's what a Bitcoiner does, buying the dip. I just don't have fiat left. I just earn my Bitcoin. I mean, I earn some percentage in Bitcoin, I earn some percentage in fiat. And I usually try to keep the Bitcoin in Bitcoin and keep the fiat in fiat. And this actually works out quite nicely, usually. Sometimes I have to exchange Bitcoin for fiat or fiat for Bitcoin to make the bills work. But honestly, it works right now very good. And so I stack Bitcoin whenever I get paid. And this is all over the place. It doesn't have a specific date. And so I no longer have that buying the dip thing. This was in the beginning very much so. I literally just had my app out there, and always had some fiat on my exchange to get ready and just drop. If the dip dips, I will buy Bitcoin with that. But I just don't do it anymore. And yeah, we come to the Luxembourg thing just in a moment. I wanted to briefly start off with Larry Lepar here, but it takes longer to get through this video, apparently, for me to talk about that. Let's get into this video again. Let's see what Larry has to say here on the end.
So there's plenty of upside here in the sound money stuff, if one assumes that they can never stop printing. And I believe that, with every bone in my body, I believe that. I think other people are coming to believe that, but for our stuff to work, we need more people to believe that. And, human beings do tend to, want to protect themselves. And so, as the word spreads and as the inflation continues to get bad or worse, more and more people are becoming aware, right? I mean, more and more people are being orange pilled, more and more people are aware of inflation, more and more people are interested in gold. I mean, everyone kind of gets it. I mean, this thing is broken. I mean, California, let's send out checks to help with inflation. Oh, that's a good idea. Spain just announced they're doing that. I mean, these guys can't stop. We're in the right place, but sadly, it's not going as fast as I would like, because we all have limited time on this planet. It's let's rip this Band-Aid off. Let's get this over with. Let's just solve it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that much like stress, but I very much feel what Larry has to say. By the way, StreamYard tells me I have bad internet connection. Maybe Pam or someone in the chat can briefly tell me if the stream quality is okay, if you guys can hear me nicely. That would be great. I think it's just like maybe it's unstable. Maybe I have to get like a cable going, but I hope the stream quality is okay. I will just assume it is, and yeah, you can hear me. That's perfectly fine. That's great. So now to the big news today. We have to talk about the European Union and Europe's place also within the Bitcoin ecosystem. I have some more charts here, but and I have some other things there, and I like having Bitcoin in the Europe zone, having Bitcoin in here. I hope so much that this is actually happening. I hope so much that Europe is not sleeping on Bitcoin like it did with so many other things. Like with the internet, with AI, apparently it also does that. And I just hope, and this is pure wishful thinking, this is pure hope, this is not based on any sort of data. The data suggests otherwise. And I really hope that we do come to that conclusion that Europe also has to get into Bitcoin. At some point, they actually have to, like with the internet, they couldn't get out of the wave of the internet. They just like have to do that. And so now is one very small, like tiny thing where I'm like, that might be the first small thing that actually comes to fruition. So now what actually happened? We have the Luxembourg Sovereign Wealth Fund that dips into Bitcoin ETFs. So now this is the first thing that kind of like bothers me. They don't get into self-custody. They're buying it, I think, with the BlackRock one. And so it is kind of like, okay, why don't they do their homework? And if it's a sovereign wealth fund, and if it should be there to protect their sovereignty, if it should be there to actually protect their people, why are they then getting into a third party? Like if the whole purpose of the sovereign wealth fund is to protect the sovereignty of Luxembourg, why wouldn't you actually get towards self-custody Bitcoin? Like that is 100% the best way to do it, and not anything else. Like you have to protect your sovereignty. And I talked about that. I will talk about that a lot. I see 3 pillars in Bitcoin. I see the wealth pillar, the number going up technology, basically that like, oh, we are getting rich, as we just talked about with Larry. We are getting a lot of the advantages. And I will actually on Sunday, I will do a live stream on the 0.1 Bitcoin issue, because I think it's like tremendous how much wealth you will create with just 0.1 Bitcoin. But this is the first kind of pillar of Bitcoin. Then we have the second pillar. We have the freedom aspect. And even from a sovereign wealth fund, even from a nation state actor, I want them to also take self-custody. I want them to say, oh, how do I set this up? How do I do that? And they also have to be there. And I just hope that the Bitcoin ETF is kind of the first step towards that. And slowly, they get in there and actually provide the value so much. So like Bitcoin provides value so much to them that they actually get into this game of having Bitcoin in self-custody. Because maybe if it grows, it makes more sense to actually do that for them. So here we go. We have Luxembourg Sovereign Wealth Fund now dipping their toes into Bitcoin. Now, this is not the whole Luxembourg capital that they are now 1% putting in there. It's just a sovereign wealth fund of them to put 1% in there. What happened? Luxembourg Sovereign Wealth Fund has allocated 1% of its portfolio. I think the portfolio is like 900 million. So it's also not a big buy. It's a small step. But they are investing now 1%, which is from 900 million. 9%, 1% is 9 million, and they did that. The Luxembourg Director of Treasury and Secretary General Bob Kiefer noted the investment in a Wednesday LinkedIn post. He said Finance Minister Gilles Roth had revealed the decision during his presentation of the 2026 budget at Chambre des Députés. I probably announced it incorrectly. Luxembourg's legislature. Oh, okay. And so this is what's happening. Oh, yeah, here it is. They have, considering the fund's asset under management of about 764 million euros for the American, that's about 888 million US dollars, so about the 900. And now this is about 9 million US dollars. This is kind of where I'm thinking they are doing it, and this is it's small. It's kind of like a small tip in the toes, but it is a small step towards that. Now, something why I think this will actually make a lot more. This will actually make a lot more headwinds long term, because right now in October we have the chance to crack a very important metric. Matthew Masinski, I think better known as One Base Money, he did a live stream in the morning, and I listened to that, and it was so interesting. We have, and I will show you this, guys, we have this month in October, for the first time ever, the chance to do something phenomenal. Bitcoin is on track to pass yet another milestone this month, October, becoming number one across all cash money. So cash money means all physical notes and all physical coins. It doesn't include the bank. It doesn't include any stocks or M2 money supply or anything like that. It is just the actual cash money as far as I understand it, but like here it's also written notes and coins. I did some digging, so like there's only the physical notes and coins in there. Central banks publish this data once a month, so we don't have live data right now for October. We only have the data for September and previous months, so September, August, and so on. Bitcoin has never closed a month ahead of all US dollar notes and coins ever printed and minted. It could do so in October. And this is huge. Like if Bitcoin does that, it is a huge proof that the Bitcoin Cash, and with that I mean Bitcoin, I see it as cash money, actually outperformed any other cash alternatives. Because Bitcoin is, if we are true to ourselves, just a cash sort of money. Now, we can see here in the last, the US dollar on the 30th of September 2025 was 2.41 trillion US dollars. We have it, a Bitcoin on the 30th of September, we had 2.276 trillion US dollars. And yeah, we have the yuan at 1.9, we have the euros at 1.9, we have the yen at 0.8, we have the Indian rupees at 0.4 trillion US dollars. Indians, I have an interesting story there a little bit later in the episode. And this is kind of crazy for me, where we have now Bitcoin at 10th of October sitting beyond that. But we haven't reached the point. We haven't reached the point because we don't have current data of the central banks, which is another this is another small thing of like why Bitcoin is so much better, because we have actual data, real time, every single day, whenever we want, and it is verifiable. You can run your own node. You can just do the verification yourself. Oh, by the way, I think Core V30 just got released, right? Maybe we can talk about that. I think I have a tab for that very in the late side of the episode to talk a little bit about core and knots, because I feel like there's a lot of screaming out there and there's not a lot of like signal out there currently. I'm going actually. There's a small tangent there. There's a small tangent in there. I'm going to a conference, Lugano in Switzerland, and they have a panel there with Luke Dashier, Jameson Lobb, Bitcoin Mechanic, Peter Todd, and Stephen Livera on the topic there. So I'm super psyched to see how it shakes out, how it is actually going, and see how kind and nice they actually are when they're in person together here. Now, back to the topic. I think this would be absolutely huge if Bitcoin does that and does close this month higher than the all other cash things. And now I found something interesting, and this is what I want to do to tell you guys about why I'm not that worried about European companies and European adoption currently. This is a map. We can see here all the countries and how many companies they have in there, that have publicly traded companies that they have in there that are actually that have actually Bitcoin on the balance sheet. And we have in Canada 33, great. We have in America 71, great. We have in South and Central America even 4 companies. Then we have in France, in Germany, 5 and 4. We have in Sweden 6, UK 12, that's amazing. And then Middle East a few, and other countries 22, and Australia, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, and Japan, Sweden even. But then you can see Canada and USA have in total 104 companies. This is more than all of the other companies combined. Two countries have more than all other countries combined. Now, granted, of course, the USA is bigger than the small of them, but like still, like that's huge. And then you have to look at the amount. We have to look at the amount. USA has 947,000 Bitcoin. And Canada has 6,000, and then there's Germany with 4,000, and France has 6,000, and the UK companies have 4,000 also, and the Middle East have like 2,000. So even if we say we exclude the Sailor stack, if we exclude the 640,000 Bitcoin of Sailor completely, because it's like, oh, like he was early and all of that, even if we completely get rid of that one, they still have 300,000 Bitcoin. That's tremendously. And I got a question here from Permalab. Satoshi Labs doesn't. I'm actually not sure if Satoshi Labs has Bitcoin, but I'm also not sure if it's a publicly traded companies. So just to be very clear, those companies are publicly traded companies. And so I can quickly look it up. Satoshi Labs company is publicly traded. Do they have a stock symbol? I don't think so. Do they have? Oh, gosh. Oh no, it's a privately held company in Czech. So what I can see, and like that's just like the research that you're seeing here. Apparently, Satoshi Labs is not publicly traded. So I hope and I guess that they have Bitcoin. It's just that they are privately held, and therefore here in this tab they don't show up because here are only publicly traded companies and not private companies. Would be very fun to see. Would be very fun to see how the comparison is from private companies of Europe versus private companies in America. I think on the private level, it might actually be more even. And this could be just a bias of mine because I'm in Europe, so I know the people at Coinfinity, the people at 21 Bitcoin, the people at Relay, the people at like the Bitcoin only exchanges, and I talk with them, and they are always telling me like there's so many companies that have Bitcoin that are huge in Europe, but they never talk about it. They never announce it. Like nobody has a clue that they have Bitcoin, but they have Bitcoin. And there are some huge companies in there. Like I would love to announce those companies because people would be like, oh shit, like they are into Bitcoin. That company is into Bitcoin. Like it's crazy. And so a little bit of the question I have is like, why are they not announcing it? Like, why aren't they actually going ahead and like announcing it publicly and saying like, oh, this is what we're doing and this is what it is? I guess it's still early. This is giving us the chance to stack cheap sats. As I said in the beginning, currently, and we just hit a block right now. Currently, we can still get for $1 852 satoshis. Like get this in your head. And I always want to make that comparison. One satoshi will be at some point $1. It's just a question of time. Could be any time, but it will probably take some time. It's like a pretty long way to there. But this is kind of for me the cheat code of like, how do I look at my purchasing power today? I look in satoshis. How many satoshis do I have? That's kind of like how many US dollars you might have in the future. And having that dollar satoshi parity is amazing. And so coming back to the companies, here we are. I have a lot of tabs open. I think you cannot even see this, but I have too many tabs open. So we have this public Bitcoin treasury companies, and you and I would be completely honest. I think Bitcoin, and we have a lot of fruit flies here. I almost like ate one now. I love life so much. There's so many things happening that it's just like so amazing. It's like, oh shit, like that's on camera. I have a lot of fun. It's also the energy is way different. On a podcast, I'm way more relaxed and like laid back, and here I'm just like having fun. Like it's way more high energy, man. I love it. I hope you guys also love it. I hope you guys love the live energy. It's really cool also to see you guys putting the comments in. That's just amazing. But the point I was trying to make is, the publicly traded companies is one story, and the privately held companies that don't even announce how many Bitcoin they have, especially if we have kind of like politicians that they like, oh, like Bitcoin is risky, like don't you do that, then this will be probably a lot different. So the private companies might be more equal to the private US companies, how many Bitcoin they actually have. Awesome. Then let's move on to just something fun I have seen in the morning. And as someone has an Indian girlfriend, I always love to see those things. We apparently had, and actually Indians have confirmed that. So I looked it up, and I messaged some Indians, and they confirmed that this actually happened. So yeah, I see Cody here. How are you doing, Cody? Yeah, absolutely. Live thing is really cool. This is actually really cool as someone that has some connection to India, because what you don't get about Indians, at least I didn't get it before I got my girlfriend in India, my Indian girlfriend, is how obsessed they are with gold, how obsessed and how big how big of a role gold actually plays in India. And this ad was today in the Times of India. This is not an ad for gold. It's how much gold you can get with one Bitcoin. That's absurd. Like this is crazy. I don't know which price exactly they have. They have taken maybe like the all-time high price. I'm not sure exactly like what this is, man. Where this is. But this is absolutely absurd having such an ad on the Times of India. I've seen the Times of India, just to make that clear how big they are. They are huge. The Times of India is an Indian English language daily newspaper and digital news media owned and managed by the Times Group. It is the third largest newspaper in India by circulation, and the largest selling English language daily in the world, which is crazy how huge this daily newspaper is. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And then you can see also how many of those Indian people, like 1.4 billion people, we're talking about a lot of people. And I just think India is ready for Bitcoin. I hear all the stories from the Indians through my girlfriend, and I hear those stories, and I'm like, they are very, very ready for Bitcoin. So this it's absolutely amazing to have this in there. Now, what else is going on? We have, it almost seems like this is a news almost every day, but I just want to make this so clear how big of a story the ETFs could be to the end of the year. When you look at those numbers, we have bitcoinnews.com. They brought in new Bitwise CIO, Matt Hogan predicts Bitcoin ETF inflows will surge in Q4 and set a new annual record. He said rising Bitcoin prices will push inflows beyond the first year record of $36 billion. So far, ETFs have attracted 22.5 billion in 2025, including 3.5 billion in the first 4 trading days of Q4. However, at the current rate of inflow, projections suggests total inflows will top out at $30 billion by end of the year. We have 64 more days to get another 10 billion, Hogan said. I think we will do that and then some. And this is the inflows, the ETF inflows by year. The black bars that you can see here are the gold inflows by year. In the first year of the gold ETF, we had 3 billion, 4 billion, 3 to 4 billion dollars of inflows. Then we had 6 billion. Then we had 7 billion, 8 billion, 12 billion, and in year 6 we actually shot up. And this is actually something we take more time to actually accumulate. Like, those products take time, so you can expect that the volume in Bitcoin ETFs will be a lot higher in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years than it is right now per year, like a lot higher. And so now in the first year, the Bitcoin ETF made more inflows in the first year than in the year 6, which was the record year for the gold ETF. Way more. Like, we are talking about, what is the difference there? 5-7 trillion US dollar. Like that's not a small amount. And this is second year as of October 03. So like basically we have 3 months left. We can easily, I can say easily that we are crashing over that. Now, it doesn't have to happen, but I personally think the Q4 will be huge for Bitcoin ETF inflows. And why do I tell that? When you see the inflows happening, or when you think about Q4 in general, first of all, everywhere there's more inflows in Q4. There's a lot of things happening in business. There's a lot of cyclings happening, and there's a lot of buying happening. And in Q4 is where most of the money usually flows. And there's one specific thing in there. There's also a lot of one-on-one meetings at like yearly reviews for clients, for BlackRock and all the financial advisors. And they want to show that they have the hot trade of the year. And I personally think at the end of 2025, no guarantees here, at the end of 2025, Bitcoin will be the hot trade of 2025. And so all the financial advisors, all the salespeople at BlackRock, they're incentivized to say, hey, buy some Bitcoin. They want to show that they got the hot trade of 2025 in the clients' portfolios. This is what's happening. So extremely bullish on that front. Now, I think I read there's some question on the ETFs. Eventually, when AI traders go wild and boomers die off, as we all will, lol, the next generation will switch to Bitcoin. Yeah, like I personally think so too. But even boomers, there are a lot of boomers in Bitcoin. Think about Larry. Like we just showed Larry Lepard, like a video right in the beginning. There is George Boudin. I think they're all a Bitcoin boomer. They're all boomers. So there are more boomers that are into Bitcoin than you might think. Do the holders of the ETFs have any ownership of the Bitcoin? Like if they want... Of course not. An ETF... Okay, but like if they want out, can they get Bitcoin? Okay, yeah, that's a different question. So first of all, to the first question, no. If you have a Bitcoin ETF, no matter which Bitcoin ETF, the only thing you have is an IOU to have some Bitcoin in the future, maybe. Maybe, a big maybe. And this IOU is worth something as long as someone else gives you money for it. If nobody else gives you money for it, nobody will give you money. And it's not worth anything. Like that's the fundamental point of an IOU. The underlying thing has value, but the IOU of the underlying thing only has value if someone else actually is willing to give you money for it. The underlying value always has the value. Like it has the value of whatever the value of that of the underlying thing currently is, and you can always exchange it. It's interchangeable. Like if you say, "Hey, I want to send you Bitcoin," like go ahead, give it to me. I accept it. I'll give you the fiat for it. But if you say me, "Hey, I have an IOU of a Bitcoin. Can you give me some money?" I'm like, no. I only accept real Bitcoin. And then to the second question, which is even more interesting, like if they want out, can they get Bitcoin? Yes and no. So there are some Bitcoin ETFs that have in-kind, how are they calling them? Withdrawals or in-kind redemptions, I think they are called. And so if your ETF, and there are a bunch of ETFs that offer that, a bunch of ETFs that don't offer that, if they offer that, you can actually give them a Bitcoin address and they send you the Bitcoin. And so some do and some don't. But in both cases, you don't own the Bitcoin. They own it. And you just have an IOU of saying like, hey, see, I could have a lot of Bitcoin, maybe. unless you get it in self-custody, put it in something like a Microseed, you don't actually own the Bitcoin. And so this is, I think this describes it really cool. Where I can see every government BTC holdings at the moment. I mean, there are some websites I think that can do that, and there's some newspaper and like some charts on that. But I actually don't have a good source, like one central source where I can see all of that. I will research that. If I find one, I will show you guys that on Sunday. If I find it, I will show you guys on Sunday if I find one. But if you refer to this chart right here, this one, this is companies. In case someone got confused, this is companies, not countries. So the companies, publicly traded companies of the country having those bitcoins. Yeah, exactly. ETF equals exactly kick me sign. Really cool. Let's move on. What else do we have? What else do we have here? We have this one here. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF surpasses 800,000 Bitcoin in AUM, oh gosh, worth approximately 100 billion US dollars, the fastest growing ETF in history. It just reiterates what we already know from this chart. Bitcoin ETFs are ripping, and people had a lot of euphoria for that in year one. But year 2 will be even bigger, and I'm telling you, year 4 will be, year 5 will be, year 6 will be like, oh gosh, like potentially freaking huge. And now, what else do we have? We have Deutsche Bank saying $1.5 trillion. Deutsche Bank, that's what they're worth, says central banks may hold significant amounts of Bitcoin and gold by 2030. Deutsche Bank always had some positive flows, positive vibes around Bitcoin. Another small indicator that makes me just hopeful for the European Union. That just maybe is in there because like I'm very hopeful, and I really hope that Europe is here to be saved. I really hope that we have some chances that we can get them to actually understand Bitcoin. And here's also the link. Oh gosh, the link to that. So like Deutsche Bank, central banks may hold significant amounts of Bitcoin and gold by 2030. Huge asset manager says that, and it kind of reflects like Germany is actually quite big on Bitcoin when it comes from a grassroots perspective. Germany has actually the number 2 or number 3 highest amount of full nodes, and those meetups in Germany are just absolutely huge from like how many people are there actually. So Germany is not to underestimate. Like they're really growing from a fundamentals grassroots perspective. The politics probably like needs a little longer to catch up with that. Now, in other news, which is, I found that so interesting and so nice when I saw that clip in the morning, and I want to show this all. I want to share this with all of you. Here is Matthew Pines on the Natalie Brunell Coin Story podcast, and I found it really interesting and very insightful from him.
Wrap up. Do you think, being based in Washington, doing the advocacy work you're doing, that we're moving in the right direction when it comes to, let's say, the empowerment of the individual and adopting Bitcoin? I mean, specifically with Bitcoin Policy Institute, this is what you've chosen to focus on. Are we moving in the right direction? And should people be confident that maybe hyper-Bitcoinization is coming?
I think it's two things, right? For me, there's number go up ultimately is just like the macro variable. And then there's freedom go up, which is maybe an orthogonal variable, right? Like you can imagine, quote, success from some perspectives is just Bitcoin is fully legitimated as an asset class. It's institutionalized. It's in everyone's 401ks. It's 5-10% of most portfolios, and it's on its way to monetize, reaching parity with gold. From a certain just purely financial perspective, a lot of people would call that success.
And this is he leads up to an amazing point, because the wealth, again, the first pillar that I'm always describing, that's not everything. If Bitcoin just goes up in number and we're all getting rich, that is only one part of the story. We also need the freedom. We also need the freedom that goes with it.
But if that happens and non-custodial software developers are still being thrown in prison, if essentially a bunch of publicly traded incumbents have regulatory moats and no Bitcoin innovators can compete, if the actual ability to use these systems to promote peer-to-peer commercial transactions and development of more innovative modes of economic interaction, that falls, then I think it's a failure, right? So I think ultimately, the secret of Bitcoin's success has been able to kind of link those two together, right? Link human greed to freedom promotion technology.
100 freaking percent. Matthew Pines is so on top of that, and we just need like 100%. We need Bitcoin to be a freedom tool. We need to actually have it in self-custody. We need to run our own nodes. We need to actually be sovereign individuals that really care about the freedom aspect. And then we can also have the number go up technology. Nothing against us getting rich. Like I think nobody here has something against we're getting rich. Like, that's great. We're getting wealthy. We can afford things we haven't afforded before. I just posted, I think today, as fun, I can pull it up later, that Lamborghini from 2018. I'll just quickly show it you guys. I think it should be very accessible on my portfolio, my profile. Let me see. Let me see. Where is it? Oh gosh. Here it is. The Lamborghini gets closer. When Lambo originated from 2018. And it's such a popular meme. Oh gosh, I'm not sharing. It's such a popular meme. So in 2018, this meme originated kinda, and the Bitcoin price tag of a Lamborghini back then was 27 Bitcoin. Now it dropped to 2 Bitcoin. And so it absolutely shows that we will be able to afford things. Please don't spend your Bitcoin on a Lamborghini, but we will be able to afford things that we'll never dreamed of affording. Like for 0.1 Bitcoin a house, maybe. For 0.2 Bitcoin, maybe retiring your wife, retiring your mom, retiring your husband, like whatever it is. Like, you can retire people probably with a small amount of Bitcoin at some point. And if you can accumulate now aggressively, like that will be freaking amazing for yourself. So this is all exciting, but we need the freedom aspect of it. We need that Bitcoin is a freedom technology and that Bitcoin is actually used for something. And so for medium of exchange, store of value, and all of that. So this is extremely important what Matthew Pines said just here. Where is it? Yeah, Matthew Pines just said here. And this is so important that we actually use this and actually do that, and we do the freedom aspect of it. Now, let's come to something really interesting also for that. Because if we want to spend Bitcoin, if we want to say, hey, I want to spend my Bitcoin, I want to use it, I want to use Bitcoin as I should do, we need to get rid of those capital gains tax. And by the way, I have a small live audience counter here on my StreamYard, and we just crossed for the first time ever in the Robin Seyr live stream the 500 people. I think it combines YouTube, Twitter, and Rumble. So I don't know if it's just one platform or all them together, or how the number comes together. But I'm so stoked that I can be with you guys here, and I kind of like have that moment here. So thank you so much for all of you being here. Means the world to me that you just tune in for me and for the news. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. Now coming to what I'm super excited about with Cynthia Lummis. She says, working on it. If this is of interest to you, please tell your senator or house member. What is she saying? Jack said, today, like the original one was from Janessa Lopez. Interesting name, Janessa. Today, we introduce Square Bitcoin, and sellers can instantly convert card sales into Bitcoin. Starting November 10th, sellers will be able to accept Bitcoin at the point of sale with 0 fees. These products are a big step towards making Bitcoin everyday money. They also highlight the need for a policy unlock, a de minimis tax exemption for everyday Bitcoin transactions. Your morning coffee shouldn't trigger capital gains. We are building towards this future at Blocks. 100%. We need, like, I come later to that. We need a de minimis tax exemption. Everything under $1,000, I personally think, or let's have it at 600 or 800, should not be taxed. Bitcoin is a medium of exchange. I get paid in Bitcoin. I pay in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a medium of exchange, and this is the most important thing that we can do. So now, what did Jack say? Jack said, we need a de minimis tax exemption for everyday Bitcoin transactions. Yes, yes, yes. And then what did Cynthia Lummis says? Working on it. If this is of interest to you, please tell your senators, house members. And this is the important point. We all get like caught up in, we are Bitcoiners. We don't need the political level. But at some point, it might be good to influence politics. This is not giving power to them. It is getting Bitcoin in their heads, getting them to accept Bitcoin. This is not like, oh, we bow down, we bend the knee to the politics. Not at all. Not at all. This is us defending our right to spend Bitcoin as we want. And you can already do that and run in the risk of the IRS or some tax agency tracking you down and putting you into prison. I don't want that. I want you to spend a coffee at Starbucks, buy it with Lightning, and don't have to worry about capital gains tax. Like, that shouldn't be that hard. And so in some countries it's possible, in some not. But this is extremely important that we have that. Now, hey, we have Gary also in the show. Hi, Gary. Just got in from a Bitcoin meetup to see you are on a live stream. Wonderful. And to a great evening. Thank you so much. Yeah, glad that you're here. And so this is extremely important that we get that the minimus tax exemption for everyday Bitcoin transactions. Extremely, extremely, extremely important. Now, way more important, here's a proposal: no tax on Bitcoin, period, at Jack. Adam Beck, I absolutely love you for that, because this is where it actually should be. Because we can say, yeah, Bitcoin is a medium exchange, so we shouldn't get taxed on like small transactions like $50 or $100 or maybe even like $500. But honestly, Bitcoin is money. And if I move money, I should never be taxed. It is money. Like, why am I getting taxed for spending my money, for moving my money around? This is never never ever the right place. So we just have to get to a point where politicians recognize that Bitcoin is money, and that and that it is not taxable. It's not a taxable event. If you move money, that's not a taxable event. I can get, if you invest in Tesla, okay, and it made some profits, you speculated, like, okay, get your tax, but not on Bitcoin. Not on Bitcoin. I mean, I'm of the belief that all capital gains tax, all corporate tax, all income tax should be eliminated, but that's a whole nother level. That's a whole nother discussion. Now, we are now in the fun period of the podcast, of the live stream. I'm keep saying podcast. Maybe I should just call it podcast, but it's a live stream. Because in the fun period of the live stream, we are looking at some videos, and we are seeing what people that are not into Bitcoin saying about Bitcoin. Let's hear what Bill Maher had to say. And it is very it's very entertaining, guys. I at least I got a good laugh. I was the day in the morning, I woke up, I saw the phone, scrolled through Twitter, what I always do first thing in the morning. I know it's very bad for you. You shouldn't do it. I just love to do it anyways. Scrolled through Twitter, and I saw this video. I was like, oh, what is Bill Maher saying about Bitcoin? I don't care about him, but let's see what he says about Bitcoin. And here you go. Here do you have it. The answer to what Bill Maher is saying about Bitcoin
is in the Bitcoin was started, or cryptocurrency was started as a goof.
If you say Bitcoin or cryptocurrency started, like, it's already a bad start because Bitcoin got started. Crypto came afterwards. Crypto was like, oh yeah, we also want, we are the new Bitcoin. We also want some money. That's kind of how I see crypto. But okay, fair point. Bitcoin or crypto.
Really, by someone we don't know who it is, somebody who used the fake name.
Was it?
Did you just notice that Bill Maher didn't even know who invented Bitcoin? He's very sure that Bitcoin is nothing. He's very sure, like, no way Bitcoin will be anything. And he will say more about it later. But he doesn't even know who invented it. Like, he's like, oh, like, what was his name? And it's interesting how you can have an opinion on that and don't get like the basics. I can guarantee you, if I asked him 10 questions that all of you guys, like every one of you guys that are in the chat currently could answer easily, he couldn't answer 2 of them. I'm very, very sure that he didn't do any homework. He just repeats what, like, a finance friend of his told him. They told him, oh, like, Bitcoin is that. And now he just, like, gets towards that and, like, does that. So when we look back at, let's look back, let's see what he says more.
The decentralized currency, so that really when it started, so you could pay for things and not be detected. Like,
I mean, yes and no, but at least you got the decentralized. Like, that's great that she brought it in. Now listen to what Bill Maher makes with that.
it was all this
Right,
underground.
it's for criminals.
It was
Because it has freedom. Because it allows for freedom. And it's such a great point. Because Bitcoin payments are free, because it allows for anyone to transact with anyone else. I can send Gary, Pam, Cody any amount of money I want, and they can send me money I want, and nobody can take it away from you, because it's freedom. Because only of that, he says, oh, it's for criminals. Because only because because it allows for freedom, because it allows for free transactions. This is the reason why it's for criminals. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. But yeah, anyways, let's see what brilliant things he has to say more.
That's
when
who
it
uses
started, it was for criminals.
But you know
And
that
it's still for criminals.
It was never for criminals. When it started, no, it's still for no, it was never.
But humanity just attaches value to things that really mean nothing. You're wearing a black T-shirt. That could be a black T-shirt from Target. You put a Ralph Lauren thing on it. We just say that that's worth more.
But it exists. It's something. Bitcoin is nothing. Do you know how they establish Bitcoin? Why it uses more electricity than some countries? Did you know that about Bitcoin?
I do know.
Of course, he read one headline. Ask him. I can guarantee you, if you go ahead and now ask him the question, oh, Bill Maher, how do you look at the difficulty adjustment of Bitcoin? What would he say? Like, he wouldn't even know what the difficulty adjustment is. Like, it's hilarious for me. And so yeah, I don't want to hate on him at all. I think he has some great takes here and there. I just want to call people out that publicly talk about Bitcoin that shouldn't talk about it. And I totally get, like, if you don't understand Bitcoin or if you don't like Bitcoin, that's totally fine. But make sure, if you talk about something, no matter what it is, this is a general term. This is something outside even of Bitcoin. If you talk about something that you are not familiar with, and you really get asked a question, which happens with a lot of famous people, they like getting asked questions asked that they shouldn't even answer. They should always say, "Hey, I haven't done my research on Bitcoin. I'm not sure what it is. I just know it went up like crazy. I know it consumes more energy than a country. I would love to hear more about that and why it is and why people do that." And then it's like, oh yeah, this is a nice take. But hating on something, like dragging it somewhere, was like, oh, like this is bad, like it has no value. This will be very bad for your reputation if you cannot back it up with facts. If you talk about something bad, you should better have some facts together and say, hey, this is why. This is why I believe it. And I can be wrong in the future. This is also always something, like if I say something bad, even I say it about altcoins. I say, like, I currently see zero value in altcoins. But I will be honest, they have been around for a very long time, and maybe there's some value that I don't see. I believe Bitcoin is the only decentralized ledger there is. And maybe there's some value in something else. Like, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't invest in anything else in Bitcoin. But maybe down the road, there's something coming that I'm like, oh, I did not see that. And maybe there's some value in there. But currently, I don't see it. This is a way more honest way to communicate. And it's just so funny to see him talking about Bitcoin.
You know that.
Okay,
Mining.
because there are, yes, mining. There are football field size buildings that have nothing but supercomputers that are.
Now, at this point, he should think about what he's currently saying. Because, oh, this thing that has no value at all has such big mining facilities that it fills completely football stadiums. Maybe at this point, you should think, oh, why are people paying so much money for those miners? Maybe there's somewhere a value that I don't understand. Maybe, just maybe, I might be wrong. And so it's interesting how he knows such small facts about it, but then doesn't connect the dots of, oh, there are football fields of miners, and then he says, like, oh, it has no value. How can something have no value but at the same time consumes more energy than a whole nation. Are the people that mine Bitcoin are so stupid that they are doing it just out of fun? Just out of like, whatever. So let's see what he has to say now.
It's like the game of pick a number from 1 to 10, except the number is between 1 and infinity. And the person guessing the number is in the matrix. And the person who has created the number is a fictional person also. And that's a way to run a currency.
Proof of work, it is called. It is called putting real energy into digital money. And we have that because we have to have a digital currency. Otherwise, we will all go with the CBDCs. And there's only two options here. And this would be my pitch to Bill Maher. There's two options from here. We either go full digital CBDC route and we have all those things. And then there's the other route of having decentralized currency. And how would you, from first principle, make a decentralized currency? You would need to back it up with some sort of real world energy, something that actually has value in the real world. And the only thing that currently does that, and I think the only thing that will ever do that, is Bitcoin, because it connects these football field stadiums that Bill Maher talks about with real energy and converts them for the security of Bitcoin. This is what's happening. So very important distinguishing for Bill Maher. And it's great that he is asking questions. It's great that he's going into the story. And I hope he has an open mind and I hope he goes deeper into his Bitcoin's journey.
Matt Damon, love him, but him and the other celebrities who told people to get into this, they're getting an awful lot of shit now, and I understand why. They suggested that people get into this Ponzi scheme, and it's not going to come out well for any of them.
I think it's not going to come out.
Yeah, it's probably not a good thing to say when Bitcoin is an all-time high that like, you got into this, like, you made so much money, you got screwed over. It's like, pick a better time. I don't know when this podcast came out, but it's always like, like they're getting screwed over by like, because you don't understand it, because you don't like it. That's why you think so? Of course. I would also think so. But I think the people that actually have US dollars, that actually have fiat currencies, that actually have any other things of that nature, they're actually getting screwed over.
Not well for most of them, but some people are actually scoring. The odd one.
Okay. Well,
Seth Green got his...
What is the odd one? What does this mean? We are at an all-time high. 98% of all Bitcoin addresses are in the green. What does this mean? The odd one, yeah. Like the 98%, the odd ones are making money on Bitcoin. Funny. This is what I understand. Like, they are now talking. Oh, sorry, did I not share that? Sorry, but they are talking about they were talking about how they lost money and all of that, and they were talking about mining and NFTs, and this is something that always happens, and I'm very, very annoyed by that actually. People mix in NFTs, crypto, and Bitcoin all into one thing. And then it's like, why are they doing that? Just because they all use a blockchain? So should we now also mix in all companies that use an internet connection? It's like all companies that ever used an internet connection are now like the same. Like we shouldn't buy Facebook because there is some penny stock that went bankrupt, and it's the same thing, right? Like it uses internet technology. Like, isn't all the companies are the same? And the same way as like Bitcoin, it is ridiculous. Like if you, if that's the only like comparison for me. And yeah, 21 Spiegel said, we are not at an all-time high, but we are almost there. So like, it's a fair point. We're not at an all-time high, but like if it would be an all-time high, then it would have been 100% of the addresses. Now it's probably like, I don't know, 95, 98% of addresses. So we are right there where almost everyone that is in Bitcoin longer since, I don't know, a few months. And I hope you guys have been on in the Bitcoin journey for some time. They're all like in the green. But it's a good point. Yeah, we are not at an all-time high. We are at... Oh, we are again hitting a block right when I switched the thing. Maybe it's also, it's the last one was 5 minutes ago, so it always gives me the thing. So we are currently at 116,000 US dollars, so 10,000 US dollars, something like that, under the new all-time high. Very good catch there. And we're still, I remind people a third time in this live stream, $1 US is still buying you 861 Satoshis. So it's a lot of Satoshis you get for those worthless US dollars.
Forget.
Oh gosh, did I not share? I'm super sorry. I'm bad with the sharing things. What is here? It started, I think.
You forget your password.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
it's just gone. It's very easy for the money to just disappear if, like, you forget your password.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
it's just gone.
Right. But if you forget where you bank, you can lose it too.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's a legit comment. Actually, I don't think it's a legit comment on the one side, but on the other side, also not really, because yes, with great power, the freedom aspect also comes great responsibility. So if you buy Bitcoin, you can, of course, give it to someone else. Then it's the same thing as a bank. But if you take it yourself, which I recommend, which I highly recommend, then actually you are responsible. And this freedom that you can transact with Cody or Pam or like Gary, as I said before, actually have to be earned. And the earning part is that you actually put in the proof of work in having the knowledge, in having the right products and services to go with your self-custody setup, to actually say, hey, I'm confident I will not lose it. I'm well enough in my setup that I cannot lose it. And this is kind of what I so strongly believe in, is like, with this great power comes this responsibility to take care of your self-custody thing. So take self-custody serious. Like this is my main message. Like, run a node and take self-custody serious. Like that's super, 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 super important for you in your Bitcoin journey. Now we have some more things here. The Bitcoin ETFs, we already covered that. I will cover this one more thing. I think we have today the Bitcoin Core V30 launch, or not launch, a release. It's not a launch. It's not a launch. V30. We have James and Lob talking about it, George Boudin talking about it, many more, Alan Watts, Smitty, and all of them are talking about Core V30. And it's a complicated topic for me. There are a couple of things that I want to say. There's three main things, three main thoughts that I have. First of all, for all the people, and that might be a little bit controversial, what I'm going to say. I don't think that Bitcoin will die from any of the changes that Bitcoin Core or Nodes are doing with up return. there are a lot of problems with core. There are a lot of problems with knots, and we have to fix them, and we have to get them in a good way. But I don't think op return will kill Bitcoin. I think differently about the block size thing. Block size could have killed Bitcoin. It's a consensus thing. And now this is a policy thing. And so this is my first kind of thought. I don't think Bitcoin will die no matter what happens with the op return. Second thought. I personally think it's amazing that we finally have more than one popular Bitcoin implementation. We have now Core, we have libBitcoin, we have Knots, and they have been around for a longer time than just a few months that it has been in the news. I think Knots has been around like almost a decade or something like that. Like they have been around for a long time. I don't know exact the years. But this is great that we have more than one implementation. It would actually be amazing to have another big Bitcoin implementation that has another code base that actually would make the decentralization even better. If we not only have Bitcoin Core and Knots, they are C++. If we have like any other implementation, I think there is a small one, BTCD or something like that. Don't quote me on that. That uses Golang. I actually coded Golang myself back in the day when I was working in my IT security job. And so that's great that those are developments that we have other programming languages also. And so this is my second thought. And my third thought is, this is such an emotional debate. And we should get to the point where we get over the emotions and talk about what is actually happening with this debate and where are we going. And this would make a lot of bridges. Because if we are honest, it's way, and I got this actually from someone from the Knots camp. I had him on the podcast and he told me this. And I took it very seriously. He's like, I saw that there was a lot of things wrong with Bitcoin Core. And that's why I switched years ago to Bitcoin Knots. Years ago, he switched. Now I asked him the question, what if everything would be exactly the same up until the op return issue from Bitcoin Core versus Knots? Would you still switch? And he's from Knots. He's very, very strongly talking about Knots. And he's like, op return is not a huge deal. If this would be the only thing Bitcoin Core would have done, I would have not switched. And there's also my stance of op return is way overblown. It's not a small issue. Don't get me wrong. It is something that we have to talk about. It is something that has to be debated. But I think what happened is with all those emotionally loaded arguments, it got to be a bigger thing than it actually is. So with that, I will close it. Those are my 3 thoughts on that topic. And I personally think it will not be anything bad for Bitcoin, but it is something very exciting to talk about. And I'm very excited again about Lugano. There's a huge panel there. I mentioned it in the beginning of the podcast. And yeah, and now we have What's Up, Bitcoin Schwarzenegger. Really, really cool. Am I really sounding like Schwarzenegger? I've listened to him and my voice next to each other. Would be cool. Like let me know, drop a 1 or 2 or something like that in the chat if you guys really think I sound like Schwarzenegger. I'm not sure if it's just like a few loud voices that think like, oh, like he totally sounds like Schwarzenegger, or if it's actually I'm sounding like Schwarzenegger. Like I'll be back. I don't know. I personally don't hear it, but it's a compliment for me. Like he's an icon, I think, in America, but also in Austria. And he has a very cool voice. So if I sound like him, I really take it as a compliment. And so thank you so much for joining me in this live stream. I will do live streaming again on Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. So the next Friday, the next live stream will be on Sunday, 8:15 p.m. Central European Time, which is 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time for the Americans. So this is super, super fun. Thank you so much for all of you joining me. Thank you so much for being here with me. And yeah, I'll be back at the next live stream on Sunday. Bye-bye. This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial advice.